Hey, you guys, this is Diane, and welcome to my live broadcast. Let me see if I can fix this angle here really quick. Okay, so today we are going to discuss puberty, infertility, and menopause. And these three subjects, I have like a personal experience with each one of them. And so I'm going to kind of explain a little bit of what our family has gone through in the past, a little bit of our history and our story. And then I'm going to kind of share what we're going through currently, and then some of the things that I found out along the way with some research that I've done and some, again, personal experiences that I have had. So my name is Dyann and I help women find meal plans and fitness programs to help them look and feel their best so that they can live their most authentic life. And a big part of living your authentic life is just feeling good in your own skin. And I know sometimes that can be difficult when you're going through any one of the three stages in our subject matter for today. So in our house currently, we have varying age levels and varying degrees of kind of stages of life. So I just turned 50, and probably for the last couple of years, my body has just been in complete chaos with all the changes that I have going on. I have a 16-year-old son. He's going through his own changes. I have a daughter who's about to be 10. We're starting to notice some changes in her. And my husband's 52, and he's probably the one that's the most affected because he's getting it from all of us. So we're trying to manage all of that. But let me start at the top and kind of work my way down. So puberty is obviously that adolescent stage where our bodies start to develop and change for the basic purpose of reproduction, and our little bodies start to just get inundated with all kinds of hormone changes, and kids don't know what to do with those kind of things, and so they get grumpy, and for a lot of teenage boys, they get very aggressive. Girls get very moody. And that's just something that with teenagers, we sort of just accept as part of a change of life, and we kind of, help them get through it and teach them kind of how to deal with that gracefully, and hopefully kind of educate them on some things that they can do for themselves to kind of manage through it and feel better. I know that's something that we're definitely doing in our house, and I'll kind of touch on that in just a second. And then the infertility part, there's always talk in the news and in the kind of health arenas about infertility and, how many women are suffering from infertility issues. And a lot of times, and I know especially in our situation when we were suffering some infertility issues after we had a miscarriage, we went through all the tests and there really wasn't anything that they could find that was wrong with us and why we weren't conceiving a child. And I was actually scheduled for a exploratory surgery to kind of see if there was something that could be determined that was wrong with me and my body and why we were having some infertility issues. And my husband seemed to check out okay. So we had already had a baby. We were pregnant and had a miscarriage. So we definitely knew that we could conceive a child. So there was this big mystery surrounding the infertility issues that we were having, and we had been trying to have a baby for about a year after our miscarriage. So my doctor, of course, wanted me to go on a bunch of, hormone therapies and do a bunch of medicine type things to get me pregnant because I was approaching 40, and, that was going to be a whole other set of issues. And Michael and I kind of just determined that we didn't want to go that route, that, I personally didn't want to have more than one child, with all the genetic factors that we had going on and risks that we had going on, going into a pregnancy at 40, that we sort of felt irresponsible. For us personally, our decision was that we felt irresponsible about taking on any kind of hormone treatments with the high risk, situation with just genetic defects and stuff of a baby. And if we had a baby at 40 and there was something genetically wrong with that baby, but it was nature's way of handling our pregnancy, that we could accept that. But if it was something that we interfered with and brought in hormone treatments and stuff, we personally just didn't feel like we could handle that. Our personal decision. So we have, kids in puberty, we have infertility issues, and then we have the menopausal stage. And the menopausal stage is sort of like, the reverse stage of what our adolescents are going through with their puberty. And so their systems are winding up, and for women, our systems are winding down. But the stages are pretty similar, and the way we feel and kind of the way we're acting is very similar as well. So when I went in to discuss, the perimenopausal stages with my doctor, he pretty much, wanted to go the route of prescription medicine, and I ended up walking out of his office with like 3 prescriptions. And I remember coming home just going, wait, this is like a natural phase of my life, and I'm supposed to like medicate myself up to get through it, and it didn't really seem fair. And the one question that kept coming to my mind was, would I do this to my kids when they were going through the change of life with their body? So me as a 40-something-year-old woman going through some hormonal changes in my life and coming out with a list of prescriptions, would I do that to my son at 14 or 15? Would I put him on a bunch of prescription medication, or would I do that to my daughter at 10 or 11 or 12? Would I put her on a host of prescription medications just to get her through it? No, of course I would not. Their little bodies can't handle it, and their change, is like in society standard is considered like normal, and it's a progression of, like a stage of life, that they're rite of passage. And for women, it's like we're just supposed to deal with it, and here, take a bunch of pills, and, eventually you'll get through it and you'll feel fine. So we decided, for me, that I didn't want to go that route. So now here we are in our house. We've got like puberty and menopause like all going on at the same time, and it can get crazy. And what we have decided to do in our house is manage it all with just research and kind of trial and error, and really try to approach it all in a natural way. So for Logan, a couple of years ago, we kind of noticed, just some changes in his body, hair on his legs, hair on his arms, his, voice was dropping, and he was breaking out in very severe acne. And so he kept wanting us to take him to the dermatologist, and I knew the dermatologist was going to give him a prescription, and we didn't want to go that route with his body. And so what we did is we did some research, and what we found was that there's a direct link between dairy and acne. And our family has a history of having an intolerance to dairy anyway. And so with a little further research, we just decided, and we sat Logan down and kind of explained it to him, that dairy could be the thing that's making him have the acne outbreak, and it's all hormone related. So he kind of saw the connection too, and we decided to take dairy completely out of his nutrition for a few weeks, and started to see some drastic changes in his acne and kind of his mood and the way he was just managing life overall. And now he knows kind of how to self-regulate his dairy and how it relates to his acne with his puberty. So dairy is one of those things that if you're noticing some changes in you, as even whatever stage of hormones you're going through, is that first thing that's kind of easy to take out and just kind of manage how you're feeling and see if it's working for you. When we were going through our infertility situation, Michael and I went on a very clean diet for about 3 months. We got into a really great and positive environment for an exercise program, and we just decided to just clean things up and give it a good 3-month run to see what would happen for us, because we didn't want to go the hormone route. We went from September to December, and December was our mental cutoff point for when we decided that we were going to kind of just stop trying, because it was kind of mentally and emotionally exhausting. And December was the cutoff point. So we gave ourselves that kind of period of time to kind of clean things up, and emotionally and mentally and physically and nutritionally just get ourselves as healthy as possible. And sure enough, the very beginning of December, I found out I was pregnant. So we did it all naturally. We did it by cleaning up our diet, by exercising, and just sort of like putting our life in a stress-free environment, and just really kind of just going with the flow and just enjoying our life and just being happy in the moment. And in that 3-month period, we were able to change things in our infertility situation, and we're actually able to conceive who is now Gabby, our daughter. Now, going through menopause, I've kind of taken that same approach and have researched and kind of combined those 3 hormonal life situations together: the puberty, the infertility, and the menopausal. And what I'm finding is that all three of those hormone stages in our life are so directly related regardless of what age we are. And so the things that I'm doing for myself for what I'm having to manage with the symptoms of perimenopause and menopause, I'm also incorporating in my family for my son and my daughter. So soy is, you hear me talk about it all the time, and I post about it on social media all the time, is that one dangerous food item for women that just sends our hormones in just a crazy imbalanced state. And so we're teaching Gabby to avoid soy as much as possible. Now, she's 9, going on 10. We don't want her to be like food crazy, and we don't want her to have any kind of issues with food or anything like that. But whenever she's in control of the situation, we try to teach her to avoid it, if at all possible. So Gabby's now trained, and if you were to see Gabby and I at the grocery store, you'd probably die laughing, because she picks something up off the counter or the shelf at the grocery store, and the first thing she does is she turns it around and she reads the label on the box of ingredients. And we don't read what the ingredients are or what the nutritional breakdown is. We could care less what the overall ingredients are and what the nutrition facts are. All we look for is the allergen statement at the bottom, right underneath the ingredients. And if it says soy, we look no further and we put it right back on the shelf. So soy, soybean oil, soy lecithin are the 3 things that we look for. And if it has any one of those things, it goes right back on the shelf. It doesn't matter what else is in it. It doesn't matter what the ingredient breakdown is. It doesn't matter what the nutritional value is. It's just something that we don't bring into our house. And she's trained to do that. So she knows that if it has soy in it, it doesn't come into our house. She knows that because we've explained to her, and she knows what I'm going through and how soy makes me feel, that it also affects her the same way because she's a woman and that her body is starting to change. And so she knows that that's a thing that if she can avoid it, she will avoid it. The same thing goes for gluten in our house. We've kind of gone through some stages with gluten, and we've gone drastically gluten-free, and then we've gone, and then what we found was that a lot of the gluten-free products actually have soy in them, so we kind of had to lighten up a little bit on the gluten-free stuff. But we just try to keep gluten out of our life as much as possible because, again, it's just been proven through research that it's one of those things that interrupts your hormones. So it interrupts your hormones whether you're going through puberty, whether you're having infertility issues, or you're trying to conceive a child. And it also has the same effect if you're in the later stages of going through perimenopause, and then in menopause, it will still disrupt your hormones. So we now have this approach with gluten where we're not gluten-free, we're just very gluten-aware. And that really has helped us kind of live a little bit more emotionally healthy about the food choices that we're making, because we're not really restricting it, but we just okay, how much gluten have we included and how are we feeling? And maybe we should start being a little bit more aware and kind of cut some stuff out that's not necessary. So puberty, infertility, or trying to conceive a child, and menopause should all be treated the same because they all deal with the same hormones in our body. It doesn't matter what age you are, soy, lecithin, dairy, gluten, they all are those hormone disruptors. So some things that you can do to kind of get your hormones back in balance if you feel like you're kind of out of whack and you're kind of noticing some symptoms, and for women, the symptoms and stuff are always talked about and joked about very openly. But I think we as women as a community don't really share as openly as we should the things that we're doing to kind of take control of them, or maybe how it is that we're honestly feeling and creating sort of a network and a support group so that we know that that we're not crazy. I know every time I hear another woman talk about some symptoms that she's going through, I'm like, oh, thank God, okay, I'm not crazy. It's not just me. It's a community of women. And if we just openly shared about it a little bit more, I think we would all feel a little bit more okay about what it is that we're going through. And then for us moms, I think we owe it to our children, especially our daughters, to make sure that we're passing that information down. I know for me personally, I don't have a history of what the women in my family have gone through. So I am kind of the first generation really going through menopause the way nature intended menopause to be gone through. And so I sort of want to leave a legacy for my daughter to make sure that she knows that everything that she's going through is totally normal and that she can manage it in her own life. And with the way we're having children today, with women having children at a later stage, we are kind of colliding with those life changes, and our kids are going through puberty at the same time that we're going through menopause. And I think that that's a great thing personally, because it does kind of put us in life in the same stage at the same time, so that we can kind of share our experiences and help each other get through it. So obviously there's some factors that can kind of, put you in a little bit of a hormonal disrupt. One of those is just being inflamed. And a lot of times we walk around with these inflammatory issues going on in our body, and we don't really realize or make that connection that that's what's going on. And a lot of it is very diet related. Again, gluten is that one thing that just causes major inflammation in our bodies. So does soy, and so does dairy. Dairy is probably a really big factor that a lot of people discount. And so we walk around inflamed all the time, and that is enough to just throw ourselves out of hormonal balance. So those are the three things that are super easy to kind of control in your diet, if not eliminate altogether. And thanks, to the big craze of all the free, gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free kind of nutritional plans, there's so many food marketers out there that are making food that you can find in a regular grocery store these days that can provide you an opportunity to kind of eliminate or even just reduce some of those food items that have dairy, soy, and gluten in them. So keep your eye out there. And when you're reading your food label, don't read the ingredients list and don't read the nutritional value. We don't care. All we want to know about is what those allergen statements say. And if there's soy, soybean oil, soy lecithin, gluten, or dairy, that's an item that you probably want to not even bring into your house. So having inflammation in our body can be that thing that can disrupt your hormones. It could be a genetic factor that's doing it. It could be the fact that you've taken, some sort of birth control or hormone altering prescription at some point in your life, and you've really never given your body a chance to kind of get back into balance. It is something that you have to kind of purposely set out to do. So that might be something that you want to think about in your history and see if it's something that you can kind of get back to normal. Toxicity to our environment could be something that can throw us out of hormonal balance. Scented candles, air fresheners, cleaning supplies, laundry detergent, all those things can be that thing that can kind of just set your adrenals off and kind of kick you into a state of hormonal imbalance as well. And basically that's all puberty, infertility, and menopause, that's all they are. They're basically just a hormonal imbalance and an opportunity for your body to kind of... Okay, so high stress can also be a hormone imbalancer, and we want to make sure that when we talk about stress, that stress isn't always the fact that you have a negative life. So you could be the happiest person in the world, but you could still have a stressful life. So happiness and sadness don't necessarily make a difference in stress. Stress can come when you're happy, and stress can come when you're sad. So think about how your days are going, think about what your job is like, think about some things that you have to do in your life.
Call from Logic.
See if there's some stress factors in there that you might be able to eliminate, and that will help as well.
Call from
not getting enough sleep. Sleep is a huge
call
part
from
of our day that we definitely don't take seriously enough, and we want to try to get to 9 hours of
call
sleep.
from
If you're not getting that on a regular basis, that again could be enough to kind of throw your hormones out of whack.
Call from
Logic. Being overweight can also be something that can throw your hormones out of whack again. It's that whole adrenal component in our system that carrying around that extra weight can just kind of be enough to kind of throw us off whack. So what can we do to get ourselves back into hormonal balance without having to go the prescription route? Diet and exercise and sleep. Like, those are the three things that you can immediately change, and you could do it as soon as tomorrow. So what you want to do with your diet is look at those three things that I'm always talking about: soy, gluten, and dairy. Those are the first three culprits that'll kind of send you off track. And if you eliminate them or start to slowly get them out of your life, you'll start to see some changes immediately. You want to make sure that you're eating plenty of healthy fats. And I know, like, the eating fat thing's a big craze right now, but it's a big craze because it works. And we've been so conditioned to be a fat fat-free society, and it's just not working for us. But you want to make sure that the fats that you're eating are the healthy fats. So healthy fats being avocado oil, coconut oil, olive oil, yes, but really the avocado and the coconut are the two that you really kind of want to keep into your diet. Those are the healthiest that you can probably bring in. You can actually supplement with some herbs and some like vitamin type supplementation. I know for myself personally, I take Suma roots every day, and when I feel like my hormones are kind of going crazy, then sometimes I'll take it like morning, noon, and night until I feel myself balance out, and then I'll kind of back off again and go just to the morning. But Suma root is that hormone that bodybuilders use to kind of put muscle on their body because it raises the testosterone level. And ladies, I know it seems hard to believe, but we need testosterone too. And as we age, our testosterone levels start to drop. Testosterone is that thing that helps regulate our mood, our memory, and keeps lean muscle on our body and helps us eliminate body fat. So if you're noticing that you're not able to keep on muscle, or you're picking up like little extra cellulite or a little layer of fat, your memory's going, or you're just not feeling as happy as you think you should, or you're feeling extra fatigued, do some research on some Suma root. I swear by it. It is that thing that will just definitely naturally build up your own testosterone levels. So supplementation is a way you can help get your hormones back on balance. Omega-3s and omega-6 fats, and a lot of those are found in like fatty fish type products like tuna fish and salmon are great resources for those, so that's super easy to add into your diet. You want to try to improve your gut health, and I know leaky gut is another big like buzz phrase that's going around in the nutrition world, but it's a very true thing, and a lot of us walk around with leaky gut syndrome and we don't even know that we have it. But we could just be fatigued or put on weight or have our hormones go out of balance, and that could just be the result of having something like leaky gut syndrome. An easy way to get that under control, if you want to just kind of experiment and see if you start feeling better, is adding in some probiotics and prebiotics. And I know, like, I am a huge fan of the kombucha juices that are out there. There's tons of them. They're pretty mainstream now. If you included 1 or 2 of those a week, that could be enough to kind of help with getting your gut digestion back on track. I talked about like scented candles and air fresheners and cleaning products and stuff like that, creating toxicity. You want to make sure that you can kind of cut those down, if not eliminate them altogether. I know in our house we got rid of all of them. We do, when we burn any kind of scent, it would be like a Scentsy kind of, wax. It's all natural. We kind of have those around the house. But other than that, like, we don't have any of those kind of burned scented candles or air fresheners or anything anymore either. Exercise. Exercise is that thing that will totally help you with your hormones. When you exercise, you actually release hormones, but they're the good hormones. So if you're feeling bad, I know it seems like the last thing that you want to do is get out and exercise, but I promise you that if you get out and exercise, those good endorphins will start to kick in, and you will naturally just change the hormones that are being released in your body, and you will start to feel better. You want to do like interval type training. It's the best type of exercise to do consistently if you are trying to get your hormones back in balance. You want to reduce stress and get more sleep. Again, I talked about that. Being happy is a great thing, but it doesn't mean that you're completely eliminated from stress. So do an inventory of your life, and if there's something that's kind of just weighing on you, see if there's a way that you can kind of manage that a little bit better or eliminate that stress altogether. And then again, track your sleep. Sleep is when our body is actually in a rested state and is repairing itself and releases those growth hormones that we need to just function and repair and go to the next day. So make sure that you are getting enough sleep. 8 to 9 hours is preferable. And you want to make sure that if you can, try to cut out any sort of stimulated like TV programs or computer work or anything a good 30 minutes before you go to lay down, just to kind of let your brain rest and so you can settle into your sleep a little quicker. And then you can supplement with vitamin D. So I talked about some of like the vitamin supplements and the herbs and stuff like that. But vitamin D, again, it's that like sun vitamin. that is a mood changer as well, and it has been just shown in so many studies to help with so many other health-related issues as well. So you can, again, get vitamin D supplements at any major grocery store or any kind of nutrition store. I usually buy all my vitamins and stuff online through Amazon. I can usually get them pretty cheap, and with Amazon Prime, I get them shipped for free the next day. So vitamin D3 is another one of those supplements you want to do a little research on and add in if you can. And then again, if you're kind of in that childbearing age still, or maybe your doctor has put you on some birth control pills to kind of help control some issues you have going on with your body, you definitely want to see if there's any way that you can ease off any sort of hormone therapy that's going to be synthetic that you're putting into your body, and let your body just sort of take over your hormones in a natural way. Again, I always look at what I'm doing to my body because of the hormone imbalances that I have, and the question I ask myself is, would I do the same thing to my daughter, or would I do the same thing to my son because they're going through hormone changes? And if I wouldn't be willing to do it to them and their young changing body, then I'm certainly not going to do it to my own body. So there's lots of information out there. I study this like it's my jam. It's exciting to me to study the body and how we can control it and how we can manipulate it and how we can change it, and how, more importantly, how we can fix it. So nutrition, exercise, supplementation, living a positive life, getting out into the fresh air, being around people who are positive and motivating and uplifting to you. And then as women, getting in a community with other women who are willing to share and are kind of wanting to live their life in the same way that you are, kind of taking the natural approach and the positive approach, will definitely be a great resource for you and a great way for you to kind of move through any phase of life that you're going through that is causing your hormones to maybe make you feel a little crazy. As always, I appreciate you guys for being here. If you have any questions, never hesitate to reach out to me. I am knee-deep in this research almost every day. I am fascinated by it. I experiment on my own body and with my own family, and I will always be honest with you with what works for us and what hasn't worked for us. And if you would like me to help you get on a plan and maybe even just be a support system for you, I would feel honored to do that and share what I have gained in knowledge and experience with our own life. So I hope you guys have a great night. I will see you here again tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Email me if you want, dyann@ParmFitness.com, or you can always leave me a private message here on Facebook. Have a good night, you guys.